Well, hello and welcome. Let me just move that banner out of the way and say hello. Hi. As you can see, it's a gorgeous day here. I've got a slight glow on. It's so nice. So I'll be, I know I've kept saying it for a while, but I am going to be heading back into the office this week because I have the luxury of air conditioning in the office. I don't like it much, but you know what? The time has come where actually I need a bit of sanity. I had a bit of a haircut, as you can see. I got to that point again with the lovely weather where I just hated that it was all long and round my neck. So I've had what my hairdresser refers to as my summer cut. So it's good and short. So what am I here to talk about today? I didn't manage to do the invite post in the group very early, so it may not be that anyone joins me live, and that's fine. So if you're watching hashtag replay, then do let me know. So this week's been a bit different for me in that I have felt like I've been lurking a bit. Or perhaps I realised that I have been lurking where I've been kidding myself because I was so busy and so visible in other areas that it didn't matter that I was lurking. Well, it does matter. And reason I've been lurking a bit is because I lost my confidence. And I don't know what was at the heart of it. I know partly what it was. And it was because I was being called to show up bigger. And that just threw me into a bit of a tailspin. And I realized that what was happening is that my ever so useful mantra of purpose plus passion trumps fear wasn't the purpose, and the passion weren't quite strong enough to trump the fear at this individual moment. So in the podcast that's coming out on Thursday, I'm actually deconstructing, what was going on in terms of my purpose and whether I was still aligned with that purpose, whether it was still the right purpose for me. And in terms of passion, whether I have enough passion for this. And I do, and yet there's a really interesting thing I discover when looking at the etymology of passion, which is that originally it was about being prepared to suffer, and as in Passchendaele, as in Christ's passion, and I don't know that I was using the current definition of passion, because I think passion for me is like this over exuberant energy and a real commitment to something. That's my passion. But am I prepared to suffer? Was I prepared to suffer? So that was a really interesting exploration for me. So I'm being called to show up bigger. And who's doing the calling? Well, it's me that's doing the calling. It's not anybody else. And on Monday, I had a really interesting, that's yesterday, I had a really interesting session in one of my groups that I belong to, talking about expectations. And I realized that it's not really anybody's expectation but my own. And so when I say I'm being called to show up bigger, it's me that's doing the calling to show up bigger, which is in itself quite an interesting thing, because it would be so easy for me to keep playing small. And that I'm a big fan of that Marianne Williamson piece where she says that your playing small doesn't serve the world, and I know it doesn't. And I finally heard, so I think this is it. I'm just getting it now. I finally heard the call to show up bigger. And so I've taken on that as a commitment. And here's my commitment. My commitment is to contact 5 DEI leaders, those leaders in the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and get a conversation going. And to contact 5 of those a month, 5 new contacts a month, to get that conversation going. Because as far as I'm aware, this is still very much the kind of poor relation in the equity and inclusion policy or agenda piece. So I definitely need to be doing more. Where I have shown up and haven't lurked is I've done a few guest guest slots on people's podcasts and in their groups. And oh my goodness, what an amazing experience. So on Monday, I recorded a session. That's just yesterday. I keep saying Monday like it's days ago. Gosh, it's only yesterday, isn't it? And the host, having not known at all what the extroversion bias was, I could see the lights going on for her, and she kept kind of doing this, oh my goodness. And she shared fairly early on that she has an extroverted child and an introverted child. And intuitively, what she'd been doing with the introverted child was fairly good. But what she also said was, if I'd known about this, I wouldn't have worried as much as I did about her being happy in her own room when, everyone else was hankering to get out during lockdown. And so I know the work I'm doing is really landing with people and really making a difference. So that's real reinforcement, real reassurance for me, I guess, that actually this is a real thing. It does need talking about. I do need to keep going. And as I say on my podcast, I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. And gosh, this sounds like a martyr, and I don't intend it to be that at all, but I need to do a bit of suffering for this, so I need to get uncomfortable. I need to be not kind of massively out of my comfort zone, but I need to be contacting people that before I would have thought, oh, well, no, they won't listen to me. Well, I'm going to contact them anyway. And if they listen, brilliant. And if they don't, what have I lost? Nothing. I haven't lost anything. So that's the work I'm going to be doing. And if any of you work for organizations where there is a nominated or a specified, leader of diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you'd be gracious enough to let me have that contact details, or at least tell me who they are so that I can kind of, find them, I'd love to have a conversation. So if you can help out, I'd really appreciate it. If you can't offer me any names and contacts, that's fine too. I know you're supporting me in the background, so I really appreciate you for that. But all I would say is stick with me while I continue to show up bigger than I have been, to show up in more places. I'm going to be doing more on LinkedIn. I'm going to be doing a live on LinkedIn, which I've never done until now. So if you see me in any of those places, give me a wave and a shout and support me, because that makes all the difference, knowing that there is a bit of support going on for me in the background. What else has been going on? Well, one of the reasons I felt like lurking a bit was because I had my second jab on Sunday, and God, it left me with a stinker of a headache. But I'm okay now. So I'm through the worst of it. And we were supposed to be coming out of lockdown here in the UK in June, or in England anyway, in June the 21st. Not sure that's going to happen. We're waiting to see kind of what the numbers look like. And I'm still not ready to jump back on a train and commute into London. I'm still not ready to see too many people. I actually saw real clients last week. I attended one of their board meetings, and it was really weird. I don't know that I'm ready for too much more of that. So I'll still be a bit lurkerish, and I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Hay fever hasn't got any better, as you can tell. Has it gone? No. Oh, excuse me. It's because I've been out admiring my garden in a quick break. And the windows are wide open, which is probably why as well. Anyway, that's probably enough from me. With that sneeze, I'll leave you all to the rest of your afternoon. I hope the weather is glorious where you are. It's certainly glorious here, and I look forward to seeing some of you next Tuesday. And I'm also looking at going live in Flourishing Introverts. So I'm going to keep them separate. To begin with, I was live here and Flourishing Introverts at the same time. But because the people in my group, or because people who see the Flourishing Introverts videos aren't necessarily in the group, I didn't I didn't necessarily want to cross over. So I'll also be going live in Flourishing Introverts, so watch out for that too. Anyway, keep well, stay flourishing, and I'll speak to you next Tuesday. Take care.